I had to take a step back and tell my staff that I am the exception. No more are we operating on how Dr. Lilly operates. Everything is based on the new associate and the new one that we're coming in because that's the norm. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. This episode is very important no matter where you're at in your business journey. Thinking about starting your solo practitioner, you have multiple associates, you have multiple doors. I'm telling you right now, whatever got you to this point, if you want to level up, go to the next stage, you're going to have to change what you've been doing. And it usually starts with you looking yourself in the mirror and taking a step back, putting better systems and people in place to make the business run and thrive. I know we've talked about this, but this is a different view on it because I'm pumped up. I'm excited. I'm doing things that I didn't think were possible because I've done exactly that. I've taken a step back and let the system dictate the care. The system dictate the business. It's not reliant on me. We have the closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. How is Q2 ending for you guys? We're getting close. We're halfway through Q2 when this comes out. End of June, we're halfway through the year. Are we good? Are we bad? Do you have to pivot? Are you doing better than you thought you were? I really think that my office is ahead of where I thought we'd be. I'm really only working 3 days a week. My associate's working 3.5. We're bringing on a new associate that's going to work 4.5 days. We're only open 4.5 days, 9 to noon on Fridays. I would love to get to a point where I work Monday, Tuesday, work on the office Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday through Saturday are mine. Do what I want, spend more time with my family, work out more. I don't know. Just have the ability to do what I want. I think I can build that office. And part of the reason for that is the growth I've seen over the past year and a half. Since adding my first associate, moving to the bigger space, like a goldfish in its bowl, we're growing to the size of it. But the best thing I've done in this past 2 years in the history of my practice is adding an associate. And I want to tell you why. So let's get into this. The things that I didn't think were possible 2 years ago, I went completely beyond them. Okay? My revenue per patient is the highest it's ever been. Sometimes we're over $700 on a daily production basis. So just looking at how much I produce and then on a daily basis, I'm over like $7,000-$8,000 a day. Like that's amazing. I remember a time in my life when, again, this is collections in a day. I'd get like $2,000 and I'd have that'd be a big deal. Like we collected $2,000 today. It was awesome. And now we routinely are over 10. Me and another doctor. We're going to add a third doctor. I think that the sky is the limit. We're growing and expanding. Efficiency is better than it ever has been. My staff is doing things that I didn't think were possible. The things that I have to manage, the fires I have to put her out, are bigger 10 years down the road, big picture type things, which I'd rather do. But the day-to-day is handled by my staff. Why wasn't that happening before, right? And it all stems from hiring the doctor. And it wasn't because the doctor did anything special. It's not because she's amazing, which she is. But it's because by adding her, it really forced me to grow. Right? I knew the business would be better inherently by adding another doctor, but I didn't know why. I thought it would just be another doctor, more production. But because she came in, I had to have the uncomfortable realization that the biggest limiting factor of my practice was me. 100% me. I'm still a good doctor. I can do everything on my own. I don't need a staff to do it. And if there was a problem, I could solve it. And that was why I was plateauing at a certain level. It was all dependent on me. That's why my staff wasn't as good as they could be. That's why my systems weren't as good as they could be. It just worked because I was Superman. I could fix everything. And when you start a practice, you have to be Superman, Superwoman, right? You know everything about the insurances. You know that this, piece of equipment doesn't work a certain way, but you can't afford something new, so you make it work the way it has to. Your associate isn't expected to do the same thing. You got to get them the tools they need. Um, Visual fields, OCTs, the why you didn't have people back for visual fields because I didn't have one, right? You can imagine with an OCT, sure. You talk yourself into this is how it has to be and it's working just fine. But when someone else comes from the outside and they don't know your little system, your, you know, incredibly nuanced, specific way of operating, they're going to fall on their face. And you're like, well, this isn't good. We want to support them. So, although patients were happy, schedule was full, in my mind, the business was successful, it was all because I was compensating for all the shortcomings. And when that happens, you're not system dependent. If you talk to any doctor that scaled or you read any book on scaling, systems. You need better systems. Well, I was a people driven office, a person driven office, and the person was myself because I'd hire people in and I wouldn't delegate to them so they could grow, so they could learn, so they could expand because it was small enough that I could do it. Every patient that came in was seeing me. The checkout, I could handle. I could tell the staff exactly what to do. But as things got bigger, as we got more staff, more patients, I wasn't there all the time. That was breaking. It wasn't working. The weak systems that I had in place weren't enough to carry another doctor. And this is what I want you to sit back and ask yourself. I know your office runs pretty good. On a day-to-day basis, we all have fires, we all have headaches, but you're like, you know what? We got through the week, we're doing well, more money coming in than going out, we're a successful business. If we took you out of that system and put someone else in, would it still run? Even if you have multiple doctors, if you weren't there, does the office run? Where does it break? How long can you go until it doesn't function anymore? Can you be out of the office for 4 weeks? 4 weeks with no interaction from you, would things work? If you had a higher volume, so take your patient load and you doubled it. Are you able to order frames, contacts, patients' orders, bill insurances, do all that at the same scale with the same systems you have in place now, or do you have to really change things up? That was the biggest hindrance that I realized is we went from me, 1,600 square feet, 5 employees, to like 8 employees, 3,500 square feet, double the doctors, and everything was breaking. Things weren't getting ordered properly. It was dependent on one person. We had to make things better, more dependent on a department. Very hard to do, but it's very easy to get caught up in your weak systems if you have a high performer. Superman, Superwoman, you, when you first start this office, can hide a lot of inadequacies, a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of weak systems. Nothing was more clear to me than when we started trying to get her to do some of our dry eye stuff. At the time we had IPL, we had a couple other things in place. Now we have everything, right? But I was doing so much of the legwork. I was selling everything. I was signing them up and I was just handing them to the staff member who knew nothing and was literally just, signing them up. And if they had any questions, no clue. But I would come in and save the day. Well, that obviously didn't work. We didn't sell any of our dry eye stuff. And my associate would be like, why is this happening? And my initial response was, well, you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this. And I realized that that was the problem. I was putting it all on her because in the past it was all on me. We took our system, completely broke it down. I educated my staff more. They can explain everything, they can answer questions. And now, when we give a handoff, the doctor's done a better job of explaining in the exam room, but the staff member knows what to say, what to do. Every single one of them can sign them up and answer the majority of the questions that are being asked. And the funny thing is, it's not just the doctor that's happier, it's my staff. They don't feel like they're on an island trying to sign something up they don't understand. The patients are happier because it's more office dependent. This office is a dry eye specialist. The staff, the doctors, they know what they're doing front to back, top to bottom. And by realizing that, I'm like, wow, what did I do? Because I didn't think about it, but we clarified the processes, improved communication, standardized care, and everything started thriving. To this day, like my associate, 10 to 15 patients, she signs up a month. I'm about 10 to 15 as well. And I was before maybe 1 to 3 a month. I didn't have time. I wasn't putting it, making time for it in my schedule, but I wasn't converting the way I was now. And it's because the system got better. It's not dependent on me. We made everything around it more supportive. The patient's better, the staff's better, the doctors are better. So the lesson I take from that is accountability of another person, especially a doctor, is what forced me to build something better than I was personally capable of carrying. I stopped at the level of, if I have to do any more, this breaks because I can't do more. Well, because she couldn't do what I can do, I made everything else around me, which raised my level of care. It got me to be better. I built something greater that makes me a better doctor, as well as supporting her. And there's things in your practice right now that could be so much better that are so dependent on you. And your thought right now is, well, we can't do that because I don't have the people in place. They aren't capable of doing that. They can barely do this. You're limiting it because you're putting it all on you. It's easier in a sense, but it's going to be harder once you get to the point of trying to grow. And the thing to remember is, when a system improves, everything else improves. Patient care, patient outcomes, doctor care, doctor satisfaction, staff. The staff's job satisfaction was that much better because they have a hand in things. They're not just puppets in my little operation I going on. They have a purpose. They matter. They have an impact. People want that. And when you give them that kind of responsibility, they're going to grow and thrive. And the people that don't, get them out. But you want people that want to grow. So I thought that was really cool. The thing that happened was, I'm now adding a second associate. He's a new grad. And I saw what we did with our dry eye clinic. Thankfully, my current associate, she's gotten a lot better because we have better systems in place all around. But we could be even better in terms of our primary care, from our intake forms, our workups, our handoffs, optical in general. That could all improve. So I've taken a step back this past 2 months, and we are revamping every single thing. And you know what's happening? My second pair sales, my frame capture rate, the handoffs are the best they've ever been. And it's 100% because I took a step back and stopped being selfish. I stopped just saying, this only has to support me. I have to think about my associates. I have to think about my staff. How can I make their lives as easy as possible? And by taking a step back, reflecting, and recreating the system, just like I recreated the dry eye clinic, everyone is getting better. Every single staff member can do more. They have a more fulfilling job. The doctors have more direction, even myself included, and we're hitting numbers that we've never hit. I've been doing this for 15 years. The level I've hit the past 3 weeks since we've really started implementing this is higher than it's ever been. Things that when people would say, you could probably be at, $600 revenue per patient, and I'm at 450. I don't know what they think I can do. This is about the best that an office in Allendale, Michigan do until I got to 700. It's all because I took a step back and revamped it to be better for everyone, not just me. When it's early on, you just want to work harder. You have to remember everything. You solve every problem personally. Eventually, you get more patients, more staff, more providers. It's a more complex system. This will not work. Superman, Superwoman, you found your kryptonite. If you want to be more than a $1.3 million practice, if you don't want to be in a really high paying job, you want an actual business where you aren't there, it makes money, it runs, and even grows without you, you have to have this conversation with yourself. What am I limiting? Where could we be better? And know what has to change? Number one, your actions. How you lead, how you manage, your vision for where you're going to go, and what you do in the clinic. Because if you are the exception every single time, no one's going to follow the new systems you put in place. I had to take a step back and tell my staff that I am the exception. No more are we operating on how Dr. Lilly operates. Everything is based on the new associate and the new one that we're coming in because that's the norm. And I had to stop making exceptions to schedule. I had to stop tinkering with everything every other day. I could do that before because it was just me. And they'd be like, okay, sure, whatever you want, Dr. Lilly. But now if I make a change, it affects everyone downstream. Affects the associate, affects the staff. So everything's well thought out, planned in advance. Those things matter, but we're better for it. It's a smoother operating machine. It's not all about you. What got you here will not get you to the next level. If anything, what got you here is going to stop you from getting to that next level. And I'm sure I haven't got to that point yet when I have multiple doors, more than 2 providers. What got me to this point isn't going to get me to the next. I'm going to have to give up even more control. I'm going to have to step out of the exam room. Something that I thought I possibly could never do is get out of the exam room and the office and business would still thrive. Doctors that are much more successful than me are doing that right now. Work maybe 1 day a week. I'm still trying to cram in this many comprehensives and this many TFLs, dry eye evaluations, tear film and lid evaluations in our office, but dry eye evaluation and general understanding. They can do it. I can do it. Even now I'm recognizing that because I'm taking a step back. I'm having this conversation with you guys, telling you that you have to evolve. You have to say that what we did yesterday was great, but we're doing something different today and going forward, and you have to be the catalyst for change. And I'm telling you right now, in the past year and a half, better flow, better handoffs, more accountability, better process design, the systems work, and we have the highest revenue per patient ever, best capture rates. My staff is the best they've ever been. They're doing more than I ever thought possible. And my associate right now, thriving. Absolutely thriving. I look at her schedule sometimes. I'm like, there's no way with that many comprehensives or not, someone's going to be sick. And she blows it out of the water every single day. Now, she shows up and works. She is one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. I match that intensity. I'm operating under those new systems as well, doing more than I ever have, almost double. And I am seeing less patients, doing more revenue, working less days. All of those things are what we talk about, we dream about, and it's happening because I got them out of my own way. I will let you know in about 3 months when my new associate comes on, if I can get them thriving up to this level in that time, it's a system-based thing. And at that point, we can plug and play. Obviously, they have to have good work ethics. They have to believe in your mission, vision, etc. They have to be good doctors. I'm surrounded by amazing doctors right now. But if you have the systems in place, what a great doctor can do in that environment, more than you ever thought possible. More than honestly what you do by yourself. Because the environment will allow it to happen. So something I always like to say is that iron sharpens iron. Adding a new doctor didn't expose weakness in a bad way. It gave me a chance to see opportunity to grow. And a lot of times we think accountability to another person, to a manager, is a bad thing. It depends on how you look at it. And I view accountability now as a chance to reflect, refine, and look for blind spots. How can we make this work for everyone? And growth, I believe, often comes from exposing the inefficiencies of what you've normalized, what you've just accepted as the way. And I'm always trying to be the new young doctor that doesn't just accept it because this is how we've always done it. But if I look back a year and a half ago, kind of why we weren't growing is because this is how it's always been done. Having the courage to change something that's working, change something that got you to this point, never feels good. It's a little scary. You can always go back to the old way, but give that new way, refinement, a chance to live, breathe, and grow. See it through to the finish. I'm guessing you're going to be better than you were when you started. And like I said, this is all because I realized that I was a limiting factor. I couldn't carry the office to that next level. And I can't carry it to the level beyond that. You can't do it now. If you want to go to the next level, if you want to level up, you gotta have better systems, better people, and you have to do less. The more you're doing, the less likely you are to grow and get to that level you want to be at. So ask yourself right now, brand new associate, are they going to thrive in your office? How long does it take to get them from start to acceptable to great? I think I have 6 months. If I can do it quicker, I will let you know. But then I'm going to do it again. And I'm sure it can be quicker than that. Like in the current situation, it took me about a year, probably 9 months to get the new associate to where we want. But a year is when we really started to take off. I'm hoping I can cut that time in half. I've never had someone come in that has never seen a patient before, so there's a added layer of complexity. But the things I took from my first associate, I'm applying wholeheartedly to the second one. He's gonna thrive because she suffered through that, the thicker brush, right? We've cleared a path. And I know this is a common theme, a common thing that I've talked about. We always think we need better people. If we just had better people. When I talk to my associate who's been at offices way better than mine, when I talk to other doctors, read books, listen to podcasts, people are great, but systems are more important. An amazing person in a good system, watch out. The things you're going to accomplish are beyond belief. So as we approach the end of Q2, pick one system. I don't care if it's your optical, your dry eye clinic, myopia management, and really take a step back and see if you're giving it everything you have. If you're just allowing it to be good enough or the way that it's always been done. How can you refine it? How can you make it better for the staff, the doctors, the patients? Not you. Right? Take your lens of everything is around you And how can you make your staff more successful? How can you make your associates more successful? When you start thinking about their success being more important than yours, the funny thing that happens is you're going to thrive in that environment. A rising tide raises all ships. And when your staff and your associates are doing more, you have to do less. And that's the world you want to live in. That's what I have. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and today I will leave you with this. Mark Manson, the cost of an action is usually much higher than the cost of making a wrong choice. Think about that. Inaction, doing nothing, is worse than making the wrong choice. I don't know if that's true, but I do know that the quicker you get from thought to action, even if it's wrong, the quicker you'll refine it and make it better and be a step ahead of everyone else around you. I've added so many new pieces of equipment. I've added so many new staff members, changed how I've operated my frame boards, how I've changed my hiring process. Not everything's been a home run, but the things that didn't work, I refined, I made better. And moving quickly is way better in my mind than sitting and thinking about it. I love to take a piece of the office, and we'll take optical for instance. Think about it, look at the inefficiencies, analyze it, come up with a game plan, and then let's frickin' go. I am not one to sit and think for months and months and months, have many meetings, discussions. I'll have an idea, see where I want to go. I'll talk it over with my office manager, get her insight, make sure I don't make her life horrible. And then we start making moves. And then I've gotten really good at staying on this, whatever project I'm on, for at least 90 days. That's a good window. If I do that, then we're going to see a change, refine it, make it better, and keep moving forward. That allows my office manager to support me, not keep getting different messaging and giving different ideas to the staff. We stay on the same game plan for 90 days. So if you feel like you need to plan something, do it before the quarter. And when you get to the start of the new quarter, have it all refined out, have a game plan, a roadmap, and go after it. And realize it's probably going to break. It's not going to be perfect. But iteration 2 will happen really quickly because you'll see the inefficiency. The thing that you talked about for months and months and months isn't really the issue. It's the thing that you couldn't see until it got put into action. And then you'll fix that. And then you'll keep going and refine and get better. That's what I've done over and over again these past year and a half, 2 years. And again, I've hit heights I've never hit. Inaction is more costly than making the wrong choice. I stand by that wholeheartedly. Go out there, make some mistakes, get better, refine, do it again. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.